Hi guys, my name is Cheryl and I wanted to introduce myself over here on YouTube. I am on TikTok and I have two accounts over there, and one is for my GLP1 journey. I wanted to start doing a little bit more over here on YouTube because they are increasingly censoring what we say over on TikTok. They do not like for us to talk about weight loss. They do not like for us to mention that we're on a GLP1 journey, because I guess they think it's not healthy, or whatever their reasons are. They are limiting what we can say. There's a lot of accounts over there that have been bananaed, which is a term we use on TikTok when the account has been removed, and they really don't give any reason, except that we all know that it's because we're talking about being on a GLP1. So anyway, my name is Cheryl. I've been on GLP1 journey for a little over 2 years, and I am down about 78 pounds. And at one time I was down 86 pounds. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about a little bit about my journey and how it has been progressing. So anyway, this is really kind of my first time using my camera sideways so that it'll be a video for YouTube. And so I need to look over at this lens. So if I stray and start looking at myself, then you'll know why, because I have to look over here at my camera, which is at the top of my phone. So I've really got to get used to that. So anyway, again, my name is Cheryl, and I do have some videos here on YouTube, but I've never really tried to grow this channel. Okay, so like I said, I've been on it for a little over 2 years. I started it on Mounjaro in April of 2023. And at my highest weight, and I've never shared any of this on TikTok, but my highest weight was 177. So a little bit about that. So I have Hashimoto's, and I was diagnosed, I'm not real sure when I was diagnosed, but well over 15 years ago. Probably more like 18 years ago, around when I was 40, so I'm 58 now. And I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and my doctor really didn't tell me much about it. They just basically said that I needed to take levothyroxine to help my thyroid function correctly, and that's really kind of it. I was going to an endocrinologist, which I still do, and they were great, but they didn't give me a lot of information. I've learned a lot about Hashimoto's on my own. So some of the symptoms that you deal with on Hashimoto's are dry skin, loss of hair, weight gain, fatigue, constipation, cold. You get cold very easily. There's about 12 symptoms, and I basically have all of them. And you can go look up Hashimoto's and get more information on it, because there's a lot more available. When I was diagnosed, the internet didn't have nearly as much information as it does now. So anyway, I also wanted to mention that I had the lap band put in 2008, and I had it for reflux. So they were hoping that restricting my stomach acid would help with the lap band. And so I never had the fills that are associated with the lap band. Now I did have restriction, but I didn't have. It's like an inner tube around the top of your stomach, and it squeezes. The more fluid you put in, the tighter it becomes. And so yes, mine was restricted, but I did not have the fluid in there that makes it even more restricted. So at the time, I think I weighed about 225. I think I lost about 10 pounds before my surgery. So I think I weighed about 225, which was kind of the weight that I normally was. And so I got the lap band done, and it did help with my reflux. And I also lost something like 35 pounds in the process. And so I think I got down to like 190. And I always had, if you know anything about the lap band, I always got food stuck, and I was constantly having to go to the restroom, especially at restaurants, and had to up it. It just came up. You had no choice. It's not like vomiting. And it just comes up all on its own. And that usually comes from eating too fast and having too much air go into your not the windpipe, but the esophagus. No. What is it that goes to your stomach? whatever the flap is that goes to your stomach. So if you're talking while you're eating, that is also a no-no. You also don't drink water or anything, because that'll make the getting stuck action way worse. So you do not drink at all. So anyway, I had that for, 15 years. And then in July will be 2 years I had it removed. It was just not servicing me well. I was on omeprazole for the reflux, and it was just time for me to get rid of it. I did not want to become an old person with this lap band that was not doing me any good. I wasn't losing any more weight. At the time when I got my lap band out, I was 277. I had just started Mounjaro 2 months prior, and I had already lost about 30 pounds. So I probably weighed in the neighborhood of 245 or something like that when I got my lap band removed. And I knew that I was going to be successful by taking my lap band out, because I was on a GLP-1 medication already, and I was already losing the weight. And so I had it removed, and oh my gosh, it was the best thing I ever did. I could eat again. And the doctor at the time, the surgeon, was like, a lot of people gain their weight back, and I just want you to be forewarned. And I do have a friend that happened to. She had her lap band taken out because of medical reasons, and she gained back all of her weight and then some. So it happens. But I knew that I was probably going to be more successful because I was on a GLP-1 and I was already losing the weight. So yes, and that's what happened. I, never looked back. I've lost the weight, and it's going fine, and I can eat again, and I can drink while I'm eating, and it's just been amazing. So I don't know, if you're on the fence about getting your lap band removed, do it. And I say do it with the help of a GLP-1 medication, because it was life-changing for me. So anyway, let's go back to when I started my GLP-1 medication. And this is going to be a long video. So when I started in 2023, April of 2023, I was at 277 in my highest weight, and I had, over like a 3 to 4 year period of time, I had actually put on 40 pounds just real quickly. It probably, took me maybe a year and a half to put on that 40 pounds, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I had started a medication for anxiety. What was I on? I was on, I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it right here. And I found out after I got on my GLP-1 medication, and I'd been on it for probably 4 months, I found out that a lot of people have an average weight gain of about 40 pounds. And I was like, and I was still taking the medication when I found that out. I found it out from a doctor that I was watching on YouTube that specializes in all of that. And I was like, what? That's why I gained 40 pounds? Well, I'm not staying on that medication, because I don't want to be on a GLP-1 and then have this medication keep me from losing weight. And so I also felt like I didn't need to be on that medicine anymore. Originally got on it because my brother passed away 8 years ago, and we also moved out to the country, and I just discovered that I was so worried about my sons excessively, and started having anxiety, and my doctor put me on it because of those situations that had happened to me. Well, fast forward 4 years, and while on the GLP-1 medication, I was no longer having any issues. I hadn't had them in a couple of years, and my doctor also didn't tell me about the side effects of weight gain. So I went off of that, and about 2 months of wicked symptoms coming off of that. It was not fun at all. But anyway, I got off of that, and I didn't want to have any obstacles. And so now back to starting the medication in April. I did really, really well. My first month I lost 20 pounds, like 8 pounds the first week, and then 20 pounds total the first month. And that is not the average for most people. I'm sure I had a lot of water weight, and that's what happened to me. I lost 20 pounds the first month. And then by about 5 months, I had lost 50 pounds. So I really lost the majority of my weight in the first 5 months. And some will say that that was probably muscle mass, and I do agree that that probably was muscles. I have learned since then that you can lose probably like 40% of your muscle mass losing weight, especially rapidly. So that being said, I lost the rest of my weight. It probably was like September to September of 2024 is when I lost the rest of my weight. To give you the time frame in which I started on 2.5 and then how I got to 15 milligrams. And that was a year and 19 months that it took me to get to 15 milligrams. So I started out at 2.5 for 6 weeks, and then I was on 5 milligrams for about 12 weeks, and then I was on 7.5 for about 4 months, and then I went to 10 in January of 2023, and I was on 10 for about 3 months, and then I moved to 12.5 milligrams, but I had a lot of symptoms that I didn't care for, and so I went back to 10 milligrams, and I was on 10 milligrams. I think I was on the 12.5 for 2 months, and then I went back to the 10 for something like 4 months, and then I went up to the 12.5, I think in September of 2024, and then I finally went to 15 in January, and then I lost coverage. I had medication until March 1st, and I lost coverage, and that I'll go back and explain that, but I lost coverage again and went to semaglutide for about 11 weeks. So that's the time frame of my milligrams and how quickly I titrated. So now let me go back to the coverage. So I lost coverage in December 1st of 2023, and my doctor, before that coverage was lost, he was able to give me 3 months of 7.5 and 3 months of 10. And so I already had like 2 or 3 months worth of medication. So I was able to have that medication for free from December until September of 2024. So I stockpiled through my insurance company and my doctor, and I was able to stay on the medication for free until the end of September of 2024. Then in October of 2024, I discovered that Champ VA, which is different from my meds by mail that was covering it, Champ VA was allowing me to be on it for $192 a month. So I did that October, November, December, and January. And then in January, they stopped covering it completely. They always wanted a diabetes indication, and so the medication was no longer going to be available to me. So I had medication through March 1st. So come March 1st, I had to make the decision to go to semaglutide compounded because tirzepatide, which is the same thing as Mounjaro, was much more expensive. It was like going to be $350, and I found semaglutide for $175 here at a local pharmacy, and so I decided to give semaglutide a try, and I got that compounded through a compound pharmacy about an hour from my house. And so yeah, I tried semaglutide and it didn't work. First couple of weeks I felt like it did something, but it didn't work, and so I gave it the old college try, and I was on it for 11 weeks, and it just, it's probably been 15 weeks since then, and I have been without my medication for 3 weeks, and I have put on a solid 10 pounds in that time frame from March 1st until June 17th. And so yeah, my inflammation is back. My hunger is completely back. All the food noise is completely back. And I know that this medication works for me really well. And so about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I discovered that Meds by Mail, who is the pharmacy through Champ VA, I found out that they started covering Zepbound, which is the weight loss version of Mounjaro. It's the exact same medication. And I found out that they cover it with the diagnosis of sleep apnea. And guess what? I have sleep apnea, but I have not had any sleep studies since 10 years ago, and I have a new doctor since then, and they don't have my old records from sleep apnea, so I had to do another sleep apnea study at a facility in a hospital setting. And they were supposed to give me my results within 4 to 7 days, but that didn't happen. Just my luck. They had some kind of storm that blew out the system for them, and it took them over 4 weeks to get me my information. I almost had to do another study, but they were able to pull my information off and finally get that information to me. And I got that information about 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. So yay, I finally had my sleep apnea diagnosis. Then I had to work with my doctor to get that sent over to Meds by Mail to show that I had sleep apnea. And now, through a little bit of, jumping through hoops and having to call my doctor several times, I now have my medication coming either Thursday or Friday. And it's 5 milligrams of Zepbound. My doctor and I decided that I would go ahead and start on 5 since I was on semaglutide. And so, I'm starting on 5, and I was pretty successful on 5, and I'm really going to try to stay on 5 as long as I can, and we'll just, I'm much more knowledgeable now about titrating up and what a real stall is. I mean, shoot, I didn't lose any weight from basically October of 2024 until, March of 2025. And then I gained weight because I was on semaglutide. So I know what a true stall is, not losing any weight. You guys, I also put the blame on, I had a hip injury. First I had bursitis, and then I fell and had a hip injury. And so I've been dealing with that for 7 or 8 months. I'm going to physical therapy right now, and my hip is getting stronger. So I do blame that on not being able to work out. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything involving the legs. And, you can't do a whole lot with just your arms. So my working out came to a screeching halt, and I do blame a lot of that on my weight gain, because I've got the diet and exercise routine down, and the diet part is not my issue. Now, I will admit it has been my issue the last 4 weeks of my semaglutide not working and not being on it, and putting on another. I had fluctuated 5 or 6 pounds, but now I'm at a solid 9 or 10 pounds up. So, I've had some factors that have played into it. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it is fact. I haven't been able to exercise. So I am doing exercises in the pool, which is really great, really helping me. I have a walking pad. I have a QB elliptical bike thing that I can sit at my chair and do. And then I also have one of those ab machines that you sit on and, go up and down and everything. And so I'm hoping to utilize those because I live in Texas and it's getting hot outside. So I'm so thankful to have the pool. It's an above ground pool, and it's just perfect for those exercises. So anyway, I am going to be doing updates on this channel, and I'm going to talk a little bit about more about what I eat and what my daily routine looks like. And just, I know this video contained a lot, but I will talk about some of this in more depth later on, just about titration and things like that, and what works for me as far as side effects, how I combat my side effects, what supplements I take, and just a lot of things like that. So if you are interested in following my journey, I would love to share it with you. And of course, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I will try to help you the best I can. And just try to give you tips and tricks along the way that can help you with your journey. So, okay, well, guys, it's great to talk to you, and I hope that you find my channel interesting and that I can give you information that might help you and give you tips on how to talk to your doctor and the mindset that you need to be in and the struggles that you have with body dysmorphia and just all the things. So anyway, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Love your fabulous self. Now that is my mantra. No matter what else is going on, you have to love your fabulous self, because you're fabulous in every way at whatever weight you are. And this journey is a journey. It's not the easy way out. And don't let people tell you that. You have things going on in your body that cause you to not be able to lose weight like the average person does. You know, skinny people out there say eat less and move more, and that does not work for everybody. If you're anything like me, we've been doing that for years, and this GLP1 medication is a game changer. And I really hope that if you're on the fence, I would love for you to message me, and I would love to help you, you know, with that beginning of your journey. And let's just do this together. Okay, guys, again, have a great day. Love your fabulous self, and I will see you in the next one. All right? Okay, bye-bye.